The past 4 years, I've been having a really difficult time, making tracks that I feel like I'm satisfied with, or even just being able to, like, get them to the point of completion. So I have, like, just hundreds of random demos. Um,
Same.
so yeah, so it's kind of hard to say because I feel like it's I'm in the middle of that process. I haven't really explored it enough to get to the finish line to have the whole perspective. But this winter, I took quite a bit of time to think about why that is. There's a whole backstory. I won't really get into that for now to spare you like hours of the 4-year backstory. But I took a break from working on music because I saw that it clearly wasn't working and the various ways that I was trying to do it. And I needed to, you know, pay my bills. And I had a ton of old Legos and Pokemon cards and various things that my I got from my parents' house that I had forgotten about. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend a month, think about what my next steps are here with my life, and put together all these old Lego sets and like sell them on eBay. And so I spent like a month doing this, just listening to music and audiobooks,
Mhm.
and just like sprawled out a tub of Legos on the floor and just went to town on it. And during that process, I was brick by brick sort of feeling like I was reconnecting with some of the oldest artistic inspirations that I had when I was a kid, you know, which makes sense because I'm like physically touching some of the objects of my earliest memories.
Mhm.
And so, you know, a lot of those Lego sets were like Star Wars. And I remember that Star Wars was one of the first things in my early childhood that I watched, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy that somebody made this." It's so immersive, so cinematic. Yeah, and I didn't have the words to describe it when you're like, 6 years old, but
Yeah.
it was
You're just
amazing.
kinda living it when you're a kid.
Yeah, yeah, it was amazing, and I was just reconnecting with those feelings, and I was thinking about, what I had started with the album, like 4 years ago. And during this whole weird 4-year period, Camilla would periodically bring up some of the story ideas that we were developing in parallel with the album. And I had kind of like forgotten about it because I had a different direction in mind musically. And she just kept bringing it up. And then, so during that time, put two and two together, I was like, I should try to develop the story more because it feels like it just keeps being brought up to my attention. Also, I have this project that's tied to the album that I've been holding on to that I will release this year. And I was wondering, what am I going to do with this? And so, yeah, I just had this epiphany, lightning strike. Since I'm struggling so hard with the music, I should just write the story. So since January, yeah, January, I've just been head down grinding out the story. Just and I've been making like basically a movie script for what I
Yeah,
hope to
that's
be
awesome.
a movie trilogy, and that's all I've been working on, just like
You have a whole
nonstop.
trilogy.
Yeah, I've just been
That's exciting.
yeah. So that's the project right now. I hope so. Yeah, so right now I'm just writing it like as a trilogy movie script, and then I have like a whole um like a document of all the backstory of the characters and lore and world building. And I was thinking about it a lot, as like a business strategy because I think going from a movie script where I hadn't previously done a project like that to like a fully realized anime trilogy is a bit crazy. So there's like a middle ground where I'm going to try to fund like a comic book series for it and then use that as like a proof of concept to pitch. for the animation.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm excited about that.
Thanks. Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
that's like adjacent to what we're doing as well. So it's cool to hear you say all that. I'd like to pick your brain at some point after this, just like about how you keep everything organized and like how you know, all the like story elements and lore and then the script and, you know, all that.
So you guys are doing that too? Like a narrative?
Dude, oh yeah, let's open up the can of worms.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a lore Bible document of just like places, people, like storyboard.
Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Silmarillion, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, basically of just like, I haven't gotten down to the nitty gritty of like how the story would be told as far as like conversations and like play by plays, but I have the big picture down and like the gods, the old gods, the new gods, the whole mythos. And I'm really, what I'm focusing on now is like bringing that to life in an audio visual format. So I do a lot of Unreal Engine stuff, like a lot of the visual stuff, but I want to take that further now and actually like create a game basically. And it's going to be small scale to start, of just like kind of puzzle. Basically, you're in this old temple of the Light Sworn, who are like the protagonist is a Light Sworn. It's like the Jedi, right, of this fantasy world. Ancient Order, you're in this old temple and you have to kind of figure out its secrets through various puzzles. And so Unreal Engine's been allowing me to do that as someone who's not a programmer, and that's been really, really rewarding. And every song I've released as King of None is specific to the narrative and telling a part of the story, which
that's awesome.
You know, reflects my life as the creator, as a lot of times our stories do. So that's the low on me. And Eric, I know you're doing something similar. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you in the same way, where I have all these millions of ideas. Nothing ever gets finished, and it's always like I'm trying to select them, and I'm trying to be better with that, you know, actually line it all up. But mine is basically like, it starts out with a mother and her son. This is where I actually started doing the story with my New Dawn EP Visions.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's like all those songs have to do with the story, and it's just kind of random moments, because the main character, her name's Ira, it's the mother, and she has a son, and she loses her son eventually, basically. I am kind of spoiling my story before it even comes out, but it's like kind of the crux point to begin the story. So
I see.
You know, so like I want to create an album of music leading up to that point, and then from there I can like start diving more into the world and stuff like that. And a lot of the things that I do can make a lot more sense to people, because there's always like hints in my music and stuff like that, but I've never been able to come straight out and tell the story like I want to. And that's why I want to hear kind of like your take on how to do all that as well, because me and Brad talk about this all the time, obviously. But yeah, my story is like, it's this mother, she has a son, and she's seeing these visions. She kind of lives in this like a little village, and then she begins an adventure, basically. She loses her son and finds out a lot of secrets about herself, where these visions are from. She can kind of see, like, some of them are the future, some of them are a past that she doesn't remember, some of them are possibilities or influences from outer spirits communicating with her. And so like that kind of all plays out, and it's very much aesthetically kind of like Elden Ring. And it was funny because I started on that path before I ever played Elden Ring, and people were like, oh, this is kind of like Elden Ring. And I played the game, I was like, oh my god, this is such an awesome inspiration for me. So
that's great.
Yeah, so I guess that's like all I'll share right now, I guess, so I don't
you
don't spoil the
Sam
whole story
to give his advice. But first, I gotta say, because that just happened to me too, where I played a game that was like a visual representation of what I've been working on for 2 years now, and that is Journey, which
Oh,
is just
that
like
game's
this
awesome.
little indie game, but like visually, like world building. It's very aesthetically like what I had in mind for the Light Sworn, with these like runes and lots of golds and browns and.
I don't think I heard of that game.
Dude, it's
Yeah, I mean,
well worth playing.
yeah, I like to think that, there's this ancient cosmic energy out there, and some might call it God or the muse or whatever you want to call it. And I think that the muse wants to tell its story in one way or another. And so at some point, if somebody is like a recipient to that energy, then
We get
and,
into
and,
this
and
every podcast. This is awesome.
Dude,
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
well,
I don't mean to interrupt you.
yeah, well, it's like corresponds to exactly what you're saying, where you're like, oh, this thing is really similar to the thing that I was thinking. Well, I think that, like, and there's no evidence of this, but it's people have experienced this feeling like over and over and over again through history. And so to me, it's like that can't just be coincidence. And so
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all on the
and
same page.
yeah, so I feel like, your story might be similar to another person's story, because the muse is like, this needs to be translated into the physical world through somebody, and everyone just has like a different interpretation of it, a different lens of reality.
I think
Dude,
that's
it's so cool.
Of the story.
That's
it's so
just
cool
our
how
job
every
as
single
artists. God.
There's always like that little delay.
I know, the 10 milliseconds really gets you. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, it's cool how every single artist that I'm like, oh, they're making something super cool. I can see they're passionate and they are, making something complex that really draws me in. All of them say the same thing, that like, and it's something I independently thought of as well. It just feels like when you're making music and like creating a story, it's like given to you and you're tapping into like this, it's almost like a radio frequency. I guess to me, in my view, it's like actually seeking God, or in your case, you're calling it the muse. And like, that's like God communicating with you, and like so it's just super cool that everybody has their own kind of way of the same phenomenon happening, and it really just proves it to me even more, like the more I hear from other people.
I think
that
I would go even a step
Yeah.
further than that and say that like that is the human's purpose on Earth. Like that
I agree with you.
our purpose is to receive that and then create it, put it into the world, and like that is our highest calling.
I mean, I can certainly see why you think that. Like, I feel like anytime I felt the most connected with myself and the world around me is when I'm in the flow state of creating something that feels bigger than me and my own ego. And so, yeah, because of that reason, I can see why you think that is the purpose, because you certainly don't get that purpose, well, I mean, I don't want to knock, what other people choose to do with their lives, but for me, like if I was working, like I was working like this hotel front desk day job, and to me it was just like grueling. I hated every second of it. I felt like I just was getting like severed from the source, so to speak, and my true passions.
Totally know what you mean.
And I was like, when you're doing something like that doesn't align, and maybe that is somebody else's true passion, and that is their flow state, which is amazing. But for me, that is not. And I forgot where I was going with this, but you guys kind of see where I'm going, right?
Yeah. I mean, I relate to that entirely. Just like, I mean, that was a large part of the reason I had to move away from Denver. I just started getting pulled into working, and I felt like I couldn't hear that voice anymore. And so it was like, that was the first time I ever really experienced that, because I'm used to being able to just tap into it and be in that flow state, but because I was just getting drawn into the world that humans have created too much, just
Yeah.
like, with civilization, like I kind of started to panic, like spiritually, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I needed to change that, and moving back home allowed me to do that. And I'm starting to,
Oh, that's
get
great.
back into that state again.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I totally relate to everything you were saying about that.
Yeah, maybe it is just that flow state is so. It's like a out of body. It's like spiritual, and because of that,
Mhm.
maybe that's why I think that artists creating their craft is like them doing God's or the universe's work through them, as is, I guess, intended. And maybe that's a crazy thing to think, but I think that any artist that has had a song just come out of them, they know that that's not from them, and that
Yeah.
is the number one thing that has created this perspective, is just like the experience of creating art, and then having those things happen where I'm like, that wasn't me. I'm not even that like smart or good enough at like creating anything to do that. And it's just these little like divine moments that are so, it's a great way to like kill your ego as an artist if you just
Yeah, I
like
think so. And
listen.
yeah, and I think part of what I was attempting to convey is, you see that now in the modern world through various forms of artistic mediums, but in the ancient history, it was people interpreting their own variants of a religion, and there's so many cross similarities, even though those people never spoke to each other. And so you just see it time and time again through history. So
Yeah, do you
there
know,
must be something to it.
that reminds
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
who's the guy? Have you heard of like Joseph Campbell and any of his work?
Oh, I love Joseph Campbell.
Okay, me
He's
too.
amazing.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
just the idea of the monomyth, how like we
the
are all
monomyth. Yeah,
telling the same story. And I mean, it's still amazing and beautiful because it's through each unique person and their experiences that we get to relive the monomyth, like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and every good story is the monomyth, and like it all lines up to these
yeah,
pillars, if you will, and we're all
yeah.
telling our own
Mm.
stories, and I'm sure that they're versions of this ancient, it's like a myth that is so embedded into our consciousness or subconsciousness that it just has to be expressed.
Yeah, it's almost like we're part of this architecture. So maybe a massive colossal painting or puzzle, and we're all putting our
Mhm.
little piece to get the bigger picture of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
colossal
Like a
pattern.
mosaic.
Yeah, yeah, possibly. Who knows?
Who
But
knows?
that's
But
how,
I
yeah, that's how I like to think about it.
I agree. I think it almost makes it more beautiful in that, I mean, it not almost, I think it does make it more beautiful that like everybody has this, like we share this fundamental story that's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a beautiful thing that everyone gets to,
well, it
partake in that
makes
together. And
you think about more like, maybe we're not so different. Maybe you can relate to someone more than you thought that you could, and all that, lovey-dovey jazz. But like, really, we're all not so, we're not as different as we think we are. And I think, man, like I keep finding like new subgenres of metal, and I'm like, this is insane. And like, man, I get these people. I know what they're doing. I see what they're doing. Like, this is awesome. And like, there's a whole subgenre of metal that's like straight up Lovecraft influenced metal. Like, it's
oh
just
really?
like
You'll have
Lovecraftian
to
metal, and it's just like
you'll have to share some of that with
Cthulhu
me.
guitar shreds and stuff. And I'm like, dude, humans are so cool and weird, and like I would
Yeah,
jam with these people.
yeah,
But like they're telling
yeah,
their story.
yeah, exactly. It's almost like we're a part of a huge collective consciousness.
Yeah, it's
Nah.
really it's really
Nah.
fascinating that that does just kind of like naturally manifest in people. Like why did somebody first make that story? You know what I mean? Like, or make those concepts became important to somebody for the first time. You know,
Yeah.
it just is really interesting
Dude, I
because
think it's
like,
like built into the human mind. Like it's not
well,
even
that's where I was gonna get, because it's like, because one thing you could say is like, oh, someone, like, it was passed down, or like it's in our media and stuff. But my
Yeah.
question is, it came from somewhere, and where did it come from? You know what I mean? Like that's what I find so interesting about it, and it doesn't
Yeah.
go away.
That's the ultimate question. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but I feel like it couldn't be that much different than the experience we have creating a musical body of work, or a comic, or a drawing. It's like an itch, or like an intuition, or a calling, and you have your lived experience, and you connect certain patterns of reality, and at some point you just have this deep intuition, and it has to, you have two choices. It either rots inside of you and it makes you miserable, or you just get it out and get out
yeah.
into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
physical world.
An itch
And
is a
so
really a word I resonate with. Just like the discomfort, and I think it's just part of being like in tuned with the muse, I guess. But like it feels like the closer you are to like your inspiration, if you will, the more undeniable the itch becomes. So like the
yeah,
more, I don't know, the more that like Eric, you're back home now and you feel close to that creativity again, and it's like that itch is like insane right now. But if you like cut off all these important parts of your life, and you're like, I don't know, isolated and sad, and you haven't talked to your loved ones in 6 weeks, like that itch isn't even gonna be there. It's so interesting. I don't know.
yeah, or you succumb to the world noise.
Or you
Everyone
you
has.
yeah, like follow the false path,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah, the
yeah.
false path for you,
mm-hmm.
because everyone's projecting what worked for them on Instagram or
Oh yeah.
anywhere on the internet.
Yeah,
And it's really easy to, follow like a guru, or anyone who's like going down a path that piques your interest, or maybe you're like, oh, I need to make money because I need to survive, and this is working for this person, so
Mm-hmm.
therefore I should try it. But if it's severed from that deep intuition, it's probably not going to work out for you in the long run.
I agree, and I think a lot of times even people people will get so disconnected from that, like the inner voice, that they're even
Yep.
convinced that some path is for them, but that it's just the ego instead of like the reality. Like I thought that the fitness industry was my path, and like that's what I
Interesting.
got a degree in, and like I do love fitness. I love exercising.
Yeah,
It's
that's
something that's
good.
really interesting to me. It's a passion, but I thought but really what I figured out through a lot of introspection is like I was pursuing the fitness path because I had been told that music is not something that's rational or reasonable or something that you can make a living from. I listened to all the
Too bad.
BS, but I internalized it and thought, okay, you know what I really want to do is fitness, because I was just lying to myself.
Yeah, you trick yourself.
Yeah, I had pushed the music so far down, but eventually I became so miserable that I had to listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, depression is functional. It's telling you you need to make a change.
mm-hmm.
And thank God I did. I don't know what I don't know where I'd be if I'd be here. Like,
I like didn't even have a choice. I, I couldn't do anything else. I was just like, this is what I'm gonna do. But
Nice.
I like
I
everybody
mean,
else, you face everybody has this like coming of age part of their spiritual journey, I guess, where like in your heart what you want to do. And are you going to be brave enough to do it even when every single person in your life, and not even one person, supports you in the beginning, like
yeah.
It's like
And
call to
if you
adventure.
can get through that, that's like the hardest part. And then it's just about like staying true to it and sticking with it and being as genuine as you can with it. And some opportunities will eventually come your way.
I agree. Yeah, and both paths are hard. Ignoring your calling or following your calling, they're
Yeah.
both outrageously
Yeah.
difficult. So it's like pick your hard mode. People think they can play
Yeah.
it safe, but like nothing's safe.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So
That's
But
so
like
true.
if you're brave enough to jump into the unknown and like make your own path and chase down what your actual calling is, like it's so much more like really rewarding. And I think what keeps people in the like they're rooted in their job and rooted in the world instead of being rooted in a higher calling is just like other people's voices about what is possible and what is not. And so it's like it's this voice of fear. And of course fear is just it's like a very low-minded it protects you, but
Yeah.
if it's out of control, it will keep you in a prison.
Yeah.
And so like you need to break out of that in order to I don't want to use the word like ascend or anything like that, but like just to find your purpose and
Well,
find
get yourself out of survival mode.
yeah and so
Yeah.
just be in tune with your spirit rather than just your body.
Yeah.
Like break the chains, maybe? Would you say?
Yeah.
In a sense of chain breaking. Dude, I love it. I love this conversation. I love how no matter who we talk to, we always end up on the hero's journey, like mythology, creativity. It's a beautiful thing. I'm curious, like this whole conversation we've had about the hero's journey, more or less, and like, the monomyth and human consciousness. Does any of that play into like the story you're telling through music?
Yeah, I mean, I think it plays into the story I was once attempting to tell through music, and now realized that music is just like a subsection, just like how you guys have realized, you want to make a game, you want to tell your story in your own way. Yeah, it plays a role into the story that my like end game life goal is to tell. And so I wouldn't say like it's directly embedded into the music, more so the story I would like.
So you would consider yourself primarily a storyteller and second a musician?
I wouldn't put a label on it. I struggled with that for a while, where I felt like a lot of my relationships were built on this identity that I had constructed for myself, and other people perceive me as a musician and record label co-founder. And I think that it was a trap because it forced me down a path to be like, I have to do this, I have to do this. And it was once my true passion for a time, and then I outgrew it, or I transitioned to something that still is a part of it, but it became something else. And that might happen again. And so I think for now I'm trying to just be like a servant to the process of the story that I would like the current thing that I feel like I need to do in this point of life.
I love that. I think that's also so important for artists. Like if you get the urge, this overwhelming desire to go like start drawing so you can do your, I don't know, draw concept art or whatever, like go do it. You're not stuck being a musician because you've done it for 8 years. You can, and your music will thrive because you're pursuing other arts.
Yeah, I agree, because there's so many parallel patterns you can learn from doing other artistic things, or well, just experiencing life in general. It's going to influence your art and your livelihood and your well-being in one way or another, regardless if it's challenging or if it seems like you don't really know where the path is going. And I also want to say, like, even if you want to pick up, like you said, drawing, I think it's valuable, even if you don't plan to make a career out of it, or because I think, and you know, we all live in America, so everything is like the thing you're doing must have monetary value. But I
Yeah.
think there's value in hobbies and just enjoying things. And if you want to go learn another skill just solely because you're curious and you have the, you know, time management and mind management to do that, you, in my opinion, shouldn't overthink it and just try to do that. If you have a calling or an interest to do it.
Yeah, I agree, and anyone who's thinking about like trying a new, it doesn't even have to be a creative thing. I don't know. I guess everything's kind of creative in one degree. But like if you want to go learn
Yeah, I
about
think so.
plants, like go learn about plants.
Yeah,
And
just do it.
yeah, just do it. But maybe you learn about plants for 2 years, and this is what you don't see when you're like getting into it. You find out that you like are just obsessed with plants and their properties and what they do, and next thing you know, 3 years from now, you're like sitting down to write some music, and you have all of these cool concepts from like plant life that you can like poetically weave into your songwriting, and that's sick.
Well, yeah,
And
I
that's
mean, in nature, there's so many things that are like that also reflect the concepts that we talk about, which is really interesting. Just like I can't think of an example off the top of my head,
Oh,
but just like,
fractals.
yeah, that's a good example. Like you
Yeah,
see
patterns.
these, yeah, patterns throughout nature and like the way things
Mhm.
are built or the way that the like just a plant's I don't know what I would call it, like body. I mean,
Architecture.
it's not
Yeah.
just, yeah, like the way it works, and
Hmm.
it's like you can see like death and rebirth throughout everything. You know,
and yeah, and every song is kind of like a death and rebirth. And speaking of death and rebirth, what's going
Yeah.
on with your side project, Sam?
Oh, yeah, like nothing. We pretty much, for now, or it's not like a definite, it will never return, but it was definitely like we're gonna get together and write these amount of songs and see how far that goes. And then my partner, Adam, he, I guess, had a calling to something else, and he ended up going and doing real estate, and his interest just more and more started to be focused on that. And so we just decided that it wasn't the time to be working on music together for that project. And yeah, I mean, if we ever, like, if he's ever in a place where he feels like he wants to do something with it, and then I'm mutually there, then I'd be down to explore that. But for now, I'm just really happy with what we had done with those 5 songs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so to me, it's like it was a successful side project, hobby experience.
Yeah, and like it doesn't have
Yep.
to keep
follow the
going
calling.
on. Like yeah,
Yeah.
and like it's okay if it's time to move on to the next thing, or like not pick up a side project again. And like if the creative time for that has ended, then it's okay.
Yeah, and like you were saying with like the plants, it might lead you to this and that. It led me to a lot of my musical decisions on my future works.
Yeah,
A lot of
dude.
the way I thought about musical structure and composition, I learned through the experience of working with Adam on that project, and so it's in me for the rest of my life. I learned a
And
really good skill set through that.
if nothing else, that's awesome. And like that, it was worth it. I mean, the world has 5 really cool songs now, and you've like added
Thanks.
all of this knowledge, this, bleh, um, wow, my brain just stopped working.
Knowledge.
You've added all this knowledge and experience, yeah,
Yeah.
to your brain to carry on to all of the future music and everything you make. And similarly, Eric is like through collaborating with Eric, I have learned so much. Like it's not even like measurable, just the influence that he's had on how I think about music and how I create, and how just like story and emotion are what I aim to do instead of write music now. And like that all just came through our cool friendship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
likewise. And it's even
that's
like
amazing.
a step further of being, not just musically or like story or all like the nerdy details that we love, but just like as a person, I feel like we've helped each other grow a lot and like become aware of things that we're struggling with and how to overcome them. And like that's a super rare thing to find, but it's super cool. And that's why it's also cool doing these podcasts and meeting other people who feel the same, because we're just like really having conversations like these all the time.
Yeah, like
So
this is
That's
me and
awesome.
Eric's regular like day-to-day convo.
Yeah.
I
And
love
we're
that.
like, we need
Yeah.
more people to just like skip the chit chat about the weather and like talk about things we really care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how we just plunged right into it.
I love
Yeah,
that.
well,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you guys, keep expanding the podcast and you ever want to invite me back for another one, to continue the conversation or, facilitate a different topic in the creative space or anything, I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'd be super down. It would be cool if we did ones that were like even more niched and then like really just dive deep into different ideas about those topics and stuff too.
Yeah, like pick a predetermined kind of, not like we have to talk about this only, but
Yeah.
like a direction for the podcast. Like, oh, we're gonna go into the technical aspect of music, or we're gonna talk about more of Joseph Campbell's works,
Yeah.
or whatever. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah,
Because each of these are such huge topics.
yeah, exactly. And we only have like an hour, and we're just like, let's plunge into everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to like forsake the depth of certain topics because you're like, I mean, you even said earlier, like, oh, I'll skip all this backstory because it would take me a couple hours to talk about it. So like that would be definitely something interesting to jump in, to later
Oh
in
yeah,
the future.
yeah, good idea.
I agree. I'd love to hear that story. I do have a couple more things I want to cover before we call it for the day. Are you good on time, or do we need to shut it off?
Oh,
here?
I'm good. I'm good on time. Yeah, I plans for this to take as long as it will take, so there's
Beautiful.
no rush.
Cool. So, of all of the questions that have been asked as a creative person to you, is there a question that has evaded you? Is there something that you wish someone would have asked? I'll let you think on that.
That's a hard question.
It is a hard question.
That's really complex.
Actually,
we
that
could
question,
even narrow it
that's
down.
the question.
Yeah.
We can narrow it down to like the album or a piece of work that you've done. Like maybe there's an Easter egg that you've placed in there that no one has ever discovered, and like, or like an overarching theme that someone hasn't picked up on. I don't know. Is there a story that hasn't been told that you meant to tell?
Well, maybe I'll have to think on that for like a month and get back to you.
We'll do it on the next podcast. That'll be the
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, I think as far as the story, yeah, it's like what I'm working on right now, and I just don't want to go into specifics on it because I would like to do that during like a public announcement when I have everything figured out, because I don't want to like describe what it is publicly now and then have changed it 5 months later. So
And God knows you will.
So yeah, maybe. Yeah, so it probably has to do with that. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have a really concise answer for that one. That's a tricky
fine.
question.
That's a really difficult question. So I don't blame you. I'm gonna ask you another really, really difficult question though.
Let's go.
And that is, if you had to create a mission statement, maybe you have a mission statement, like your reason for making the art that you make and putting it out into the world, what would it be? And it doesn't have to be beautiful and eloquent and all that. It can just be a regular sentence or two. Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's to scratch the itch.
To scratch, put that in quotes right now.
Scratch the
Sam,
itch.
I do it to scratch the itch.
Literally, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could have this, like long form monologue about like, oh, I want to do it to inspire this person, or I want to do it to prove this point. But really, I think that's after the years of doing artistic work, I think that's really all it comes down to is I have this insatiable desire to create things and to like live in those worlds that are just being bombarded to me in my mind, and I have to get them out for whatever reason.
I love
And
that.
yeah, I think
We
I
have
think that
not got a
reason is beyond
question.
us.
We haven't got a reason or an answer like that. But I think that's all of our answers in some ways. Like that plays a piece of
Yeah.
it. It's like there's this
Mhm.
you just have to let it out. It's like an uncontrollable
Yeah.
urge.
Yeah, and I think I had like so many different reasons through the different seasons of my life, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it like if I really boil it down to its absolute essence, it's that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's a good enough reason for me. Cool. Anything that you want to share with the world before we call it for today?
Hmm.
Go listen to the album if you haven't. I swear to God,
Yeah,
it's
go
so good.
yeah, go listen to the album. Pay attention to my social media around November 20th.
That's a very specific date.
Oh, we got a date.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm
Yeah.
asking work off November 20th.
That's all I want to tell
He
the
said
world.
around November 20th, so the entire week.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just gotta.
take the
Hey,
whole week off.
Thanksgiving is gonna take me the second half of November. Sorry, dude. That's awesome, and really excited to hear the next chapter and like see the story come to life and all of that. Because, well, you know us, we're story geeks and just nerds
Yeah,
of the
thanks,
highest
guys.
degree. So thanks for coming
Yeah.
on. Really love the conversation, and we'll have to do this again in the future.
I agree. Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah, thanks for having me, and it's super nice to meet you guys
Officially.
Yeah,
over video
finally,
call. Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
just text messages. It's great.
Yeah, likewise. Have a good rest of your day.